When she was just 8 years old, Ashley Biden inspired a Dolphin Protection Act in 1990, and she's been a human rights powerhouse ever since. An activist and philanthropist, armed with a master's degree in social work, 39-year-old Ashley Biden, the eldest daughter of President-elect Joe Biden, has largely avoided the public eye until recently. During her time supporting her father's presidential campaign, we've learned that she's educated, dedicated to social justice, and fearless in her pursuit of criminal justice reform. A Delaware native, Ashley was born in 1981 and grew up with her half-brothers Hunter and Beau Biden, who both survived the tragic 1972 car crash that took the lives of Biden's first wife, Nelia, and his 1-year-old daughter, Naomi. According to Ashley's mother, Jill Biden, she and her siblings were always close. From the minute she was born, her brothers looked after her, and she always looked up to them. Wherever they went, she wanted to go, and they took her. She recalled to Delaware Today. Growing up in a household full of ambitious siblings, Ashley was passionate about human and animal rights from a young age. As Ashley told Today, in January, she first became involved in activism at age 8 and would set up research projects to talk to her dad about important issues. Often when I was 8 and 9 years old, I would talk to my dad when he came home from work about dolphins getting caught in tuna nets. I would come prepared with research and posters and talk about how we needed to save the dolphins, she said. Her efforts succeeded too, as Joe Biden, who at the time was a Democratic senator of Delaware, sponsored the Dolphin Protection Consumer Information Act of 1990. According to Ashley, studying street ethnography in her first semester of college is what inspired her to study social work and anthropology. Describing her aspiration, Ashley said, "I was always interested in what made people different, unique, and how social and structural organization influenced behavior and circumstance." Post-undergraduate, Ashley worked as a waitress at a pizza shop for a few months before becoming a member of the clinical staff at Philadelphia's Northwestern Human Services Children's Reach Clinic, where she helped families and youth access community resources. A few years later, she worked as an education and employment specialist at West End Neighborhood House, where she assisted youths aging out of foster care. In 2010, she graduated from the University of Pennsylvania with a master's degree in social work and was one of 12 graduates to be awarded the John Hope Franklin Combating American Racism Award. In the same year, Ashley met her future husband, plastic surgeon and otolaryngologist Howard Krein. Introduced by her brother Beau, the pair dated for 2 years before marrying in an interfaith ceremony in 2012, as Ashley is a practicing Catholic and her husband is Jewish. According to Ashley's mother, Krein is the perfect guy for Ashley. After graduating from her master's program, she spent 15 years working for Delaware's Department of Services for Children, Youth, and their families. In 2008, she was even named one of Delaware Today's 40 People to Watch For. By 2014, Ashley was promoted from Associate Director to Executive Director of the DCJ, or Delaware Centre for Justice, a nonprofit advocacy organization. She's worked on projects that include prison rehabilitation, educating youth against gang violence, and arts-based fundraisers for children in detention centers. In 2019, Ashley parted ways with the DCJ before her father set out on the campaign trail, but considers the experience one of the greatest honors of her life. Despite her father's political ambitions, Ashley's been able to keep her private life largely out of the media. She prefers to keep it low-key on social media and even has her Instagram set to private. Ashley also prefers to keep social appearances to a minimum. In 2016, during an interview for Politico, Ashley shed some light on why she prefers to keep her social media official business only. When interviewer Lucy McCalmont noted that Ashley has kept a low profile compared to her brothers, Ashley made reference to growing up in the spotlight. Referring to her father being in the news constantly, as a senator for Delaware, Ashley had this to say: "I think the hardest thing for me was actually watching the media criticize my father, someone who I adore, and, I feel like a lot of times they got it wrong," Ashley said. In the same interview, when asked if her father should ever run for president, Ashley was encouraging of the idea, saying her father would be an absolutely fantastic candidate, adding that she would love an opportunity to work with her father. Although her career is much less media-heavy, she isn't afraid to be the face of a campaign. In 2017, Ashley founded and launched a charitable fashion line, which premiered at New York Fashion Week. Her line of ethnically produced, casual clothing donates 10% of its proceeds to local charities in Delaware. Her brand, called Livelihood Collection, in honor of Ashley's half-brother Beau, who passed from cancer in 2015, raised $30,000 for the Delaware Community Foundation. Describing her line's logo, an arrow passing through the letters LH, Ashley told Delaware Today, "Beau was my beau. His cancer brought me to my knees. I had no choice but to shoot forward, keep going, keep aiming at my own dreams." The line was renewed in 2018 when the brand redesigned uniforms for the staff at the Hamilton Hotel. According to Marie Claire, Livelihood Collection is set to undergo a relaunch in the new year. Ashley has always been inspired by her family. During the virtual 2020 Democratic National Convention, she gave a speech to introduce her father, explaining that he has always been a source of inspiration. Ashley recalled that he had always encouraged her to have her own opinions and to voice those opinions when she knew something was wrong, an idea that became one of her guiding principles in life. She expressed that both she and her father have the same principles in their personal life and in their careers. He will be tough, caring, and principled. He'll be the worst enemy any bully ever saw, she said. As her father's campaign became more serious, Ashley also became more steadfast in her efforts to support her father. Ashley also spoke to attendees of the Wisconsin Women for Biden event in August, where she emphasized her father's goals to bring equality to the forefront of his campaign, including more equitable public schooling, affordable childcare, better paying jobs, and tackling climate change to promote an economy run on clean energy. He has the empathy and fortitude to help us address the racial and economic disparities that undermine all communities, she told the crowd. As her father recalls, Ashley has always focused her work on equality and criminal justice. She stands up for her people and wants others to see what she is seeing firsthand, rather than solely from her, Biden noted. Even Ashley's coworkers have applauded her leadership. Ginger Ward, a board member of the DCJ during Biden's transition for assistant to director, described her as very 21st century, applauding Ashley for her hands-on, collaborative, transparent advocacy during her time as the DCJ's director. During this time, one of Ashley's core principles was pretrial reform, something Biden's former undergrad roommate, Seema Sadanandan, who is now the managing director of the Alliance for Safety and Justice, agrees is the first step in preventing mass incarceration. It's likely that, although Ashley isn't fond of the limelight, she'll use the attention towards her family and career as a platform to advocate for criminal justice. Sadanandan also says that Ashley's family has always been intent on being the voice of the people who need it most. Citing Ashley's activism during Hurricane Katrina and on her family's public service background, Sadanandan has no doubt that Ashley will continue to work in social activism. During Hurricane Katrina, she saw how poverty and race diminished access to services and kept people from changing their circumstances. Seeing her grow from student to social activist was exciting to all of us around her, she told Delaware Today, adding in a reflection about Ashley Biden's work in criminal justice that Ashley sees it as her mission to help those stuck in the system find a way out and a way up through pretrial reform and behavioral cognitive therapy. Throughout her career in criminal justice, working with foster care children and educational background in social work, she's made it her goal to address social inequality through prevention and rehabilitation efforts. During her time at the DCJ, Ashley's work focused on criminal rehabilitation as well as justice for victims. During one of Ashley's collaborations between the DCJ and the Division of Youth Rehabilitation in Wilmington, focuses on Biden's goal to reform the criminal justice system. The program, which teaches at-risk male youths coping strategies to deal with chaotic environments and aims to reduce violent behavior. The ultimate aim of the program is to break the cycle of violence and lack of resources that contributes to teens joining gangs. To do this, the program provides aftercare support groups to participants who have experienced violence and organizes community volunteer work participants can join. By employing role models that have experienced these issues firsthand, boys involved with the program learn to change their perception that gang life may be their only option and learn how to break the cycle of learned violent behavior. We need to change the way kids think if we expect them to change their behavior, because what they're seeing out there isn't the American dream. It's discrimination, welfare, life on the edge, says Biden. If there's no role model, who is helping to change the world they see? Like many social advocates, Ashley identifies poverty, paired with a lack of education, jobs, and decent housing, as factors that create opportunities for violent crime, something which her career has been focused on reforming. Getting people out of the justice system, or simply getting them the services they need, is about hope and possibilities. I'm at my job because our system is malfunctioning, Ashley said in 2018. So, is Ashley destined to join her father's campaign? In the past, she's expressed interest in working with her father to improve the criminal justice system. And many speculate that although she was not an official member of her father's campaign, her involvement in appealing to female voters could foreshadow a government role in addressing women's issues. With all of Ashley's incredible work in criminal justice, we can't wait for her to step into the spotlight during her father's presidency. Were any of these facts about Ashley Biden's life and career surprising to you? Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for new videos daily.